Any questions? Yeah, so. Right. Well, yes. The idea is that there will be some kind of a documentary for the Archive Hour on Radio 4. It was all planned to happen this year, and then we all realised, wait a minute, there's... Actually, I should have the microphone, shouldn't I? But I can shout. There's the 40th anniversary. Right. Stereo. Yeah, the Archive Hour is a really good programme that finds all sorts of reasons for digging into all sorts of archive material. And in this instance, hopefully, we're going to get to rummage through Douglas's archive, which has been lodged by the family. They've placed it at his old alma mater, St John's, Cambridge, where it's looked after in their special collections by a lady called Catherine, who gave me access, with permission from the family, to do what we're going to do now, which is to have a look through and see what still exists, what little snippets that we've never seen before. So that's largely what this is all about. But first of all, a little bit of context. Now, these fine people here are going to join in and read some of the snippets. I did a sort of cut-down version of this on Towel Day, at Stand Up for Towel Day at Waterstones in London, and James Thrift, Douglas's brother, half-brother, was there, and he enjoyed that. It was, it's kind of funny, it's touching at times, and it's a little bit of another insight into the man. I'm not sure that he would have wanted us all poking around in this if he was still with us, but he hasn't got a choice. He's decided to spend 16 years dead for tax reasons. I think it's time for him to come back again. That's the joke's over, mate. But anyway, no, we all miss him, and this is a little insight into the man himself through his work and his best loved work, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So, with a bit of luck, here we go. There should be. Do you want somebody want to hum Journey of the Sorcerer? That'd be good.
Where's my phone ring?
Got your phone? Okay. This is the first scribbled note I ever got from Douglas Adams. It was left on my desk. Oh. Fashionably late. It was left on my desk when I was fashionably late getting into work. It was early 1980, and Douglas had just popped round with Alan Bell, the producer, to approve the first bit of animation that we'd made for the TV series. As you all know by now, my first year in the business was spent doing Hitchhikers series animation. That's me, sitting there scribbling. It was all hand-drawn, old-school artwork pretending to be computer graphics. As the year went by, I got to design covers for the camera strips, and little in-jokes and cross-section of Marvin for the Sunday Times, which became a poster for Marvin's hit record. I remember phoning Douglas to check with him the notion that Marvin really had got a giant computer brain floating out there somewhere in hyperspace, when 10,000 terabytes in the internet age now seems fairly small potatoes. The script sometimes lacked detail in what he wanted for the animation sections. I don't know why they're so happy about that, but anyway. Next door, it's very loud, aren't they? But every now and again, a message would arrive just directly from Douglas with a bit of extra material, and here's a unique TypeScript page he sent with a new poem by Grunthos the Flatulent, and another which we dutifully added into the animation. And my old boss, the animation director Rod Lord, pointed out on his website that nowadays I resemble the character I once drew. Disappointed. I'm thinking about trying out that mohawk earring combo. If not the thong, I don't think so. Anyway, occasionally, and this is what we're getting to, is the bits in the TV script. There are bits that never quite made it to the screen. Well, and the TV script was the longest version ever of the Vogon Captain's poem, and the production assistant, Vicky Pugh, had written in the rest of it by hand. I'm not sure it's even totally correct there, but somewhere there's even a longer version, there's a bit missing. And I don't think they've ever fully presented the whole Captain's poem as it was written. And so
this is another one. This is a bizarre idea by Douglas, one of many cut by Alan Bell, which led to some attention. After using the improbability drive, it said that a goat with a scale model of the Eiffel Tower strapped to its head is standing about. This goat is never referred to, but it will continue to be with them for the rest of the series. And as you can see, I don't think so, says the producer. So in the spirit of finding more of these unused, unseen gems, I was recently sent by my good friend Mags, the radio producer, to rummage through the vaults at St John's in Cambridge, where his family have lodged all his private papers. Now, many of the following treasures are shown today for the very first time. A few got shown on Tower Day, but lots of them are uniquely, first time ever you're going to see them today. And my extra thanks also goes to Catherine McKee, who's the archivist there, who's been extremely helpful. Douglas got through a huge number of notebooks, and this is just a few. And there were many scraps of paper and lots of different versions of scripts. Yes, long before Douglas's well-known love of the Apple Mac, Hitchhikers was born in the late 70s age of analogue. The earliest I've seen so far is this one. It seems to contain partial manuscripts of early radio episodes of Hitchhikers. I'm not sure if I can explain to you the honour and the excitement that I felt at visiting Hitchhikers at the very source, to witness classic phrases in his own handwriting. Here's the passage about Veep Vujagig and the problem where all the biros disappeared to.
Did he lose his biro halfway?
It's quite, yes, it's really. I think he's got different coloured Tipex as well, so it's, these inky jottings evolve into typescript. Here's the front page of the very first radio script where it all began. Douglas's brother James remembers hearing the heavy pounding of an old manual typewriter echoing around the family home in Dorset. And note, as it says there was a note included, prepared by somebody, I don't know who, but it says, in this draft, Arthur is Alaric, as you probably may have remembered from various books, Simo's book and others. Alaric B was the original name for Arthur Dent. And in this letter to David Peary, the film reviewer then of Time Out, Time Out magazine, February 78, Douglas proudly outlines his new forthcoming radio series. He pleads the case for seemingly jumping on the sci-fi bandwagon created by the Christmas release of Star Wars. It says, I'd been hawking the idea of SF comedy for years and only managed to sell it 6 months ago. And he extols the production values of his radio series, making that one 4-minute section in episode 2 took 3 days to record. And then he says, but for God's sake, don't publish that because the department isn't supposed to know and it's not a very good section anyway. I don't know which bit he means, I mean, unless it's Ford and Arthur arriving in the improbability, you know, South End and all that. But we liked it, didn't we? February 78. I'm in the wrong bit. We'll get there eventually. It's all going to be a bit ad hoc today. Towards the end of the letter, he gives a little resume of his work so far, and he mentions his collaborations with Graham Chapman and Monty Python, plus his famous kamikaze sketch on the Burkiss Way. And he also mentions that for a while he worked as a bodyguard for an Arab royal family. Some pages I found were outlines for the future development of the series. The Hitchhikers series style has often been referred to as Swiftian, and here it's clear that Douglas himself saw it that way right from the outset. He says many of the alien races they encounter epitomise some particular human folly, such as greed, pretentiousness, etc., rather in the manner of Gulliver's Travels. And that's Douglas's own words. They say right about what you know. His fairly recent experience as a bodyguard comes to the fore. He says, Ford and Alaric were due to be hired by a wealthy but nervous man as internal bodyguards, reduced to microscopic size to escort meals through his digestive system. Right, here we go, folks. This is Alaric's first encounter with the man from the council, Mr. Prosser, as we later came to know. He wants to knock down his house. It went slightly different from the version that we know and love. And for the purposes of this, I shall be Mr. Prosser. And here is written as Counts. It's not a particularly nice house anyway.
I happen to rather like it.
I am empowered by the council.
I think it's got used to me.
I'm empowered by the council.
If I let you knock it down, I don't think another house will ever trust me again. They can tell, you know.
I am empowered by the council.
I bet your house doesn't trust you.
Will you allow me to continue?
Yes, all right.
I am empowered by the council.
Is this you continuing?
Yes! Today Haddock there as after then. Okay, there's another one. Douglas's O level in physics stood in good stead here. And right, here we go. 4.
Alright, the universe we exist in is just one of an infinite multiplicity of parallel universes which coexist in the same space but on different matter wavelengths, and in millions of them the Earth is still alive and thriving just as you remember it. Or very similar at least, because every possible variation of the Earth also exists.
Variation? I don't understand. You mean like a world where Hitler won the war?
Yes, or a world in which Shakespeare wrote pornography, made a lot more money, and got a knighthood. They all exist.
And here's the actual moment when our hero Alaric B became Arthur Dent. And he went through the script, crossing it out, looking in Arthur. You can see it says Alaric B on the top one. The first printed script cover for the radio series, episode 1. And I just noticed this the other day, that Mr. Prosser and the Vogon, famously played by Bill Wallace, were originally slated to have been played by Nigel Lambert. So obviously, Bill Wallace must have been a very late replacement.
Kevin, we did know it was recorded that an actor had dropped out because he was ill. Bill Wallace was brought in, but I've never seen the name before.
Never seen it before. Well, I believe Andrew Pixley is here, and I think maybe he knew about that. So, but not many people did. This at the top right is Nigel Lambert, as he is today. His credits include the narrator voice for the comedy spoof of Open University films, Look Around You. And cult fans might also recognise him from the pic below as the truculent and corruptible computer technician in the very first episode of Blade 7, which was made that same year. So the Hitchhikers would have been recorded just a few months earlier. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, say for Beeblebrox and Trillion. Stick with it.
Zayfod. Oh, sorry, what's that?
Don't know what to say, you're on time.
Zayfod, those couple of guys we picked up, I just realised something.
I have ever told you how you look with the light of a binary star system, washing its gold and rosy radiance over you.
Zayfod, please.
And the intricate tracery of distant star clouds dancing in your
The
eyes.
sector we picked them up in.
And the myriad winking lights of the starship control system. Weaving crazy colour patterns of your soft skin. Have I told you?
No, you haven't. Now listen.
Well, that's just probably because if I did, you'd probably hit me.
Zayfod.
But I think you're gorgeous anyway. And I love you more than life itself, and almost as much as all the money we're going to make.
We're going to help the underdeveloped parts of the galaxy.
Oh, sure, of course. Well, most of it. Some of it.
All of it.
All right. All of some of it.
Zayfod, we picked them up in sector... Zayfod, please take your hand off me. And the other one. Thank you. And the other one.
I grew that one especially for you, Trillion. You know that? It took 6 months, but it was worth every minute.
Very well done. You can see Zaphod was, it seemed that you'd gone a bit soppy there at the first part of that, but by the end we were back on familiar territory. And anyway, we'll move on to the next one. We're going to need everyone for this, I think. Right. This is a scene from Fit the Second. It would have, it's an early draft, I think, from the second radio episode. In your own time, ladies and gentlemen.
A party 6 months ago on Earth, England, London, Islington.
That party.
What? You don't mean you've been on that wretched little planet as well, do you?
No, of course not. Well, I may have dropped in just briefly.
But I've been stuck there for 15 Earth years.
Really? That's very dodgy. Hey, let's have a drink.
It's been demolished by the Vogons. I only just escaped.
Oh, is that so? Look, could we not mention that?
Oh, trouble?
Oh, sensitive area. You know, nothing. What are you having?
It was you, wasn't it?
What? I don't know. What are you having? It may have been.
What is all this, Arthur?
Okay, well, I'm at this party and I'm talking to this extremely nice girl I've been chasing all evening and just beginning to think I've got myself well set up when this friend of yours here barges up and says something like, "Hey doll, is this guy boring you? Why don't you talk to me instead? I'm from a different planet."
Zaphod?
Yes, it was him, Zaphod. He only had the 2 arms and the 1 head at the time and he called himself Phil.
Okay, we've established it was me. Hey, I'm sorry.
So you get off with her by spinning some cock and bull story about being from another planet.
But Arthur, he is from another planet.
That just makes it worse. She's going to realise she's been conned, even though in fact she hasn't been. And the only reason she was conned was because the story was totally convincing. And the only reason the story was totally convincing was it happened to be true. She isn't going to know now in the cold light of morning, is she? She's going to be blaming herself for believing a lot of stupid lies when in fact she should have been blaming you for telling the truth. What kind of behaviour is that? Going around conning people with the truth. You should be locked up. Good God, Tricia Macmillan, what are you doing here? We were just talking about you. Oh dear, I do feel a fool. Where shall I put myself? I'll just try and hide under this chair for a bit. You can carry on without me. Sorry, everybody.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I think we personality prototypes should stick together.
Go away, you boring robot.
Arthur, I'm sorry if I caused you any embarrassment. Of course I didn't believe his stupid story about being from another planet. I just fancied him.
But he is from another planet.
Yes, I was a bit disappointed when I discovered he hadn't just made it all up.
Ford, this is it okay to get a word in edgeways here? This is Trillian.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Look, Zaphod, I'm terribly sorry about all this, and you've just saved my life and everything, and...
Skip it, that's just fine. It's okay. Relax.
The other thing I remember about that party was that the host's entire record collection was stolen. Beatles, Stones, Who, Elvis, everything.
Arthur, I think we better cool it.
Worth a lot of money, still.
Drink, anyone?
End scene. Well done, everyone. So you sort of see that in that, I just wonder whether that little bit about the record collection at the end, something very important to Douglas, I wonder whether that was a hint of how come Marvin can later on hum Pink Floyd. Maybe, see, it all connects. Anyway.
Okay, someone's asking me a question.
Sorry, question.
Was that TV or radio?
That was radio. This is all very early stuff so far. Okay. Another one. This is a page from Fit the Third, Ford and Zaphod.
Well, Zaphod, there are various ancillary factors to do with scientific rationalism. The skeptical mind and so forth, but I think for me the major stumbling block in what you've just said has to be the sheer weight of unadulterated rubbish.
Listen to me, Ford. I found it. I swear, I found it.
Magrathea,
Yes?
a non-existent planet.
Yes?
Listen.
No?
Listen, Zaphod, you can't just casually find things that simply don't exist. I mean, I know that reality is not as popular as it was, but it's like all these things, it'll come back in.
There's nothing wrong with my sense of reality. I have been thoroughly serviced every fortnight.
There you go. Right. Now this is a narrator piece on Beetlejuice in history, and Mike Cule as the narrator.
The most curious and altogether astonishingly remarkable aspect of this particular meeting is, of course, not immediately apparent to an independent observer, who would know little of events during the 923rd attempt of Beetlejuice some 270 standard galactic sidereal years previously. Zaphod Beeblebrox's primum father, Zaphod Beeblebrox II, was the under-deputy conceptualist behind a revolutionary attempt to reform the political structure of the Beetlejuice star system along the lines of ant society. This attempt, like the previous 922 attempts at devising new forms of government for Beetlejuice, failed dismally. The 500 involuntary consultant ants, which had been wired into the matrix of the administrative computer, died of astonishment. Yet another period of bloodshed and rebellion set in, and yet another political research project was set up, this time to find out how it was that otters managed to live so quietly and happily together. The damned structuring republic of the 924th attempt rate 50 years later also ended badly.
Garkbit, the waiter at Milliways, was originally pseudo-French. Here with Zaphod.
Non, monsieur. Here at Milliways, we only serve the very finest in ultra cuisine.
Ultra cuisine? Don't give me head pains. Last time I was here, the food tasted like it was fresh from the planet Pucron. Algerian Ziltbat burger smothered in a head of Vulcan dodo spit. I mean...
Saliva, monsieur, saliva. The salivary gland of the Vulcan ultra dodo is a delicacy much sought after.
Not by me.
Not by anyone, I think. Zaphod famously had a team of psychiatrists, the most vocal being Gag Hellfront, who described him thus. Oh, I knew it wouldn't work. No. Technical problem. Okay, what are we going to do? Play it the other way. At least you'll hear it. No sound. Where's Elvis when you need him? Ah, that's such a shame.
It's very low sound, you could just...
Yeah, okay.
Oh yes.
What was his name? Alex. Alex recorded it for us in authentic German accent. He said, oh yes, he has personality problems beyond the dreams of analysts. He is schizophrenic to the degree that we once held a reunion party for all his personalities. It was a total disaster. Half of them refused to turn up, and the rest went and gate crashed somebody else's mind for the evening. Sorry, Alex. What a shame that didn't work. This is a very old copy of PowerPoint, very out of date. But it worked earlier, that's very annoying. Anyway, that's the only one that's got a video, so we won't bother about that. What's delayed gratification? Pleasure that you wait for. Why would you want to do that? Want to find out? This is Zaphod Beeblebrox. He's a delayed gratification student. Much later, Zaphod was redrafting the movie script, and he wrote this new line of dialogue for Zaphod.
Damn it, I hate moral issues. I became president specifically so I didn't have to deal with moral issues.
Written in the time of Clinton, I think it's more appropriate. This is Marvin the Paranoid Android with Ford Prefect inside the statue of the new dramatic cup. Oh, Marvin. Just because I'm 10,000 more times more intelligent than you think every time I make a remark, I'm trying to make you feel insecure.
No, I don't,
Well, you should do, because I am. I'm usually aggressive, Marvin. And I always think that Ford and Arthur, whoever's playing it, they're the real heart of Hitchhiker. But this exchange was dropped from the second radio series. And by this time, Arthur's been through the ringer, and he wants to stay on the new Earth.
I know you're going to tell me there's a whole galaxy out there, but I've already seen it. It makes me tired and angry.
But we don't know the date.
That's fine. I haven't got any appointments. I'm sorry. Travel may broaden the mind, but it also gives me a deep craving for clean underwear.
Hey, a bit like going to conventions. This is a note for the fourth novel, So Long Thanks for All the Fish. Wonko the Sane knows how the dolphins disappeared. He says, absent-mindedness is a great trick if you can do it. Absent-bodiedness is something else again. And there's graphics there by Rod Lord, which I'm going to keep the display going next door if anyone's not seen it yet. There's original artwork there, and also I'd point out that Rod Lord does do prints of the artwork on his website, commercial over. By the time Doug typed that one up, it was refined somewhat. The dolphins left by forgetting to be here, which is a nice trick if you can do it. I can't, I've tried. I can't get further than the kitchen. And that's then how it developed from that great line. This is Wonko the Sane who demonstrates the principle. And Fenchurch realises that he's disappeared into the kitchen. From the second novel, Restaurant at the End of the Universe, when Zaphod first meets Rooster. Now, I love this one. It's very silly. When trying to size people up, Zaphod often tried to imagine how they would behave at one of his parties. This man, he decided, would stand darkly in a corner, looking at his watch. If he moved at all, it would be to go to the kitchen and shake his head at the plumbing. Listen, said Rooster urgently, rather to Zaphod's mind, as if he'd just discovered what it was that was terribly wrong with the plumbing and had interrupted the party to break the news. Rooster lapsed into an impenetrable silence, wearing an expression that under different circumstances would have suggested that the entire plumbing system would probably have to come out before any further damage was done, and that guests should now leave quietly and calmly. Zaphod was terribly glad. And here's how it was all shortened down to the passage we know from the book. Zaphod tries to size the man up. Ernest type, he thought, not a barrel of laughs. He probably apportioned a fair whack of his time to running up and down the heaving corridors, breaking down doors and making cryptic remarks in the empty offices. I think I prefer the kitchen plumbing. Yes. Yeah. Some notes I found are simple statements of thoughts and ideas. Here's the idea for Bistromath, made on the principle on which restaurant bills are settled. Second draft of Ford's line to the errant Zaphod in the last episode of the second radio series. I love that one. I want you to know that I respect you, but not very much. There's the original in Douglas's own hand. And the cloning joke, a note about the idea that led to millions of lintillers. But just occasionally, you get a random one-liner in the notes, which is pure, sort of, for us, new Douglas at his best. I love this one. I've hired this hamster at $5 a week and it's agreed to take the blame for everything. I assume that eventually evolved into the idea of the electric monk believing things for you, you know. But here it was the blame. Oh, and that's Sammy the hamster there with his pet, Liam Davies. tell him I was putting that in. It's a long time ago. Yeah, talking of dirt gently, this coffee-stained page is a famous line. High on a rocky promontory overlooking a green valley sat an electric monk on a bored horse. So there it is, the actual bit of paper. I remember Douglas's mother said that she liked the bit about the horse.
She liked the bit about the horse.
Yes. And this idea clearly started life testing the Hitchhiker, but of course wound up in Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency. And Douglas seemed to have an apt phrase for most things: middles of thoughts. Thoughts which don't have a beginning or an end. And that was just scribbled randomly on the back of a typescript. Some of these things we're never going to get to the bottom of. It's just something he suddenly thought of. Douglas's text often had this effect on his readers. His mind was rather stirred up by this, in much the same way that a bowl of spaghetti would be stirred up by a hand grenade. Yeah, I love that. Whilst his detractors might ask, I don't know where they hatched that shit. His answer, rows and rows of idiot eggs. You might be talking about advertising there, one of these things. This is a note to himself. Note to self, there's a lot of notes to self. This is from Life at the University and Everything. I think that Slightly Belfast is going to return. You stupid idiot. A few minutes ago you had some lines for him in your head which you didn't write down and now you can't remember.
Probably went to have a cup of tea.
Yeah, more notes to self from the Life at the University and Everything. Alright, here's the news. We're going back to Lords. That's the cricket ground. Well, fuck it, that's what we're doing, I'm afraid. If you want the reasons, despite my fiercely adamant statement that that was precisely what we wouldn't do, then here they are. As I said to Sally in my letter, taking a silly subject and making it serious makes for better writing. Or at least, it makes for better writing than taking a... At least for me it makes better writing than taking a serious subject and making it silly. A bit of a clue into his ethos there. Now, Zaphod on his own arrives on Ursa Minor Beta in the second novel restaurant. Here we almost got a new fruity word to add to the canon. Zaphod struts around trying to impress the local hitchhikers. He asked them where the offices of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy were, and in awed tones they told him. He tossed them a couple of $1,000 Altarian dollars and hoodled off ostentatiously into the Ursa Minor Beta. Sun. Alright. Hoodle is an Ursa Minor Beta word which describes that sort of slightly dancey walk which people do when they're feeling very cool and relaxed and pretending they don't want to be noticed. Like the see Zaphod doodling. Most of the pages look something like this from So Long and Thanks. It's a hodgepodge of typescript, Tipex, and scribbles. On this page, from the typescript of Life at the University and Everything, it seems Douglas had a different coloured correcting fluid for every colour paper that he got. Different colour for every occasion. Douglas became good friends with Mike Smith and the Monkeys, of course, whose mum invented liquid paper. So I guess people like Douglas helped make the Nesmith family fortune. A few pages have the obligatory coffee mug ring, but not many. We all know the line space is big. Well, here space is dull, staggeringly dull. And this speech was ultimately given to Slightly Belfast in Life at the University and Everything, where he tries to bore a party guest into going away. You hear part of it in the background in the tertiary phase read by Richard Griffiths, playing Slarty. And in this version, Slarty suggests Arthur must have had a lot of exciting things happen to him. And Arthur says, well, it depends what you mean by exciting. If you call alternately being blown up and insulted exciting, then I suppose so. You meet a lot of people with the wrong number of limbs, but you can do that in Roehampton. This page about stress and nervous tension is from Fit the Third, and it had a crossed out note in the margin, so in the bottom left corner, I'll blow that bigger. Poor Douglas, he will come to a standstill soon. It looks suspiciously like different handwriting. So Douglas is working at home and somebody's sneaking in and scribbling things in his margins. Here's another from when he was writing his first Doctor Who script, The Pirate Planet. Turn it sideways. Douglas admits he is a silly, soppy, sentimental, disconnected drainpipe. Again, that's suspiciously different handwriting. Finally, on this page, the culprit is revealed. Douglas Adams is my brother, full stop. Signed, Jane Thrift. So that's little sister Jane, little Jane, who's seen here. She visited the filming down in Cornwall, that's her on the left there. And Douglas's blue cagoule just has been obscured by Mark Wynne Davies. And in addition to this notebook cover, it's quite interesting. John Lloyd, producer of Blackadder, Spitting Image, QI, One Shared Flat with Douglas, you all know it. He helped Douglas write 2 episodes of the original radio series. And by the way, when we showed it at Town Day, John Lloyd was there, and he had a look at it. He swears that's not his handwriting. So it's been added on by Douglas Adams and a bit by John Lloyd. I think this notebook tells us something about Douglas' attitude to writing. Each book, each of the notebooks, and there are many, begins with a fresh, optimistic note. What I'm about to say is deeply shocking, so I started a new book to save him. Here is the deeply shocking thing I'm about to say. Scrap that plot on account of it stinks, and it's a millstone around everyone's neck, most of all mine. And within days he abandons this book and he buys another one. But it seems to be a pattern, you know. He just bought notebooks, starts with a flurry of interest and excitement, writes them a few pages and then throws it to one side and starts another notebook. So fresh enthusiasm, I think. Some of the notebooks have notes and telephone messages scribbled in from Douglas to find when he gets back to his desk. Sue was telling me that their book sister Jane reckons this might be the writing of John Cantor, with whom Douglas shared digs for a while. Tell Mark Wynne Davies what tune you want for Beetlejuice National Anthem, it says. Ring Saturday afternoon. Well, we know what that tune was, don't we? Shall we have a rendition? All together now. Roll one. Hang on, let's do it now. All together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Sacklebora Stragon, Hootry Mansion, Montreal.
Very good. Give yourself a round of applause. It says, and Lisa rang. I suppose Lisa might be Lisa Braun, I don't know. Jeff Perkins, this is working on the radio show. Again, probably a note from Douglas to John Cantor. Now this is a test of memories. Lawrence from Original says, go to HMV Oxford Street and look in the window. Why might that be? Anyone remember?
They had live ducks.
Yeah, well done to Mr. Haddock. There we go. Sorry, Arthur. There we go. That's right. Original Records have placed a huge advert for the second vinyl LP in HMV's window. Sadly, the live ducks attracted the attention of the RSPB and was swiftly removed. By the way,
and placed in plastic bags on the roadside.
Served with orange, yeah. And by the way, that is a mock-up. I don't know if you can tell. Anyway, notebooks aside, occasionally there are longer passages. And this one, Mike, is from Life, the Universe and Everything. On the planet Ramtad.
Okay. On the planet Ramtad after Lyricon. Excuse me, I'll start this again.
Start again.
On the planet Ramtad after the Lyricon, Ramtad after whom the planet had reluctantly been named, sat and brooded. Things hadn't worked out quite as he'd wished, and he didn't know why. That, for the moment, is his problem. It would become a problem of more general interest later. On planet Urgle 4, Sandwich Harband. A new government has just been elected, pledged to oppose and utterly undo all the previous government had set out to do. This involved moving the entire population of the planet back out of the sea, cutting off their fins, and learning about bricks again, but no one seemed to mind. They just kept their fins somewhere. They knew they could find them again after the next election. On the planet Flintle-Woodlewicks, later renamed the Earth, nothing so exciting was happening. I feel that sorry to Peter Jones.
There was, lots of sentences that were actually quite difficult. William Franklin used to say, that reading Douglas's writing was a bit like surfing the waves at Bondi Beach where he grew up. You just hang on for dear life to the end. Body language was all the rage in those days, probably thanks to Desmond Morris. Here we go.
She turned on her recorder, raising her eyebrows to indicate that she hoped that was all right with him. He gave a little nod to indicate that he didn't mind, and she'd go right ahead and record anything he said. This business is called body language, and if you use too much of it, you can very easily end up in bed with people, which is fine if you like that sort of thing. Considering how many people do like it and how much they like it, it's strange that people don't use body language more than that they do.
This is a list of ideas and segments for the third novel. Amongst the obvious things like the campaign in real time and the party planet, plus cricket, it says, and all that goes with that, we get some surprises. Coleridge is listed, but he doesn't turn up in Douglas's work until Dirt Gently. The bankrupt stock of godlike powers sounds like an amusing concept, something arising from the leftovers of a civilization which has stopped believing in gods, believing somebody else is able to go and buy up the bankrupt stock of powers. And it also, we've got things here like, what are the drubbers? And who is the consultant? We will find out a little bit later on, a little bit about the consultant. Oh, a bit sooner than I thought. Now then.
Oh, right, sorry.
Oh.
I found out.
Right, so Michael, this is Arthur meeting a character that was to be known as the consultant. There was quite a lot of material about this. I've just selected one page. The consultant was going to be quite something, I think, but it all got changed. So you may know the consultant by another name.
And
Original script.
There we go. And suddenly there was, standing before Arthur, a man on a horse. A man that Arthur had seen before, though briefly. It was quickly apparent to Arthur that no one else could see him, no one in the crowd. This was apparent because suddenly Arthur could see no one else. There was just himself and this man and his hellish horse.
You've just saved the universe. You realise that?
Said the man.
Have I?
Said Arthur.
Yes, I expect I have.
Why would you want to do a thing like that?
Arthur looked startled.
Well, wouldn't you?
No.
Who are you?
The man got swiftly off his horse. From the ground he picked up a small pebble. He tossed it lightly from hand to hand.
A friend of mine made this,
he said.
Other times, Douglas left more upbeat notes to self. Writing isn't so bad, really. Forget the worry, just press on, he tells himself. You can get pleasure out of it. You can certainly do very well for yourself with it. And he did. He enjoyed a jet-set lifestyle, including trips on the Concorde. But then there's other things that are just random, really. I need a lavatory brush, but I get embarrassed asking for it. I keep going into shops and coming out with tubes of toothpaste or packets of contraceptives. Now, organising all of these analogue notes in the early 80s became a bit of a thing. If only there was some technology to help. This is a dot matrix printout of the same sentence, and this is early evidence of his eventual great other love affair with the computer. Word processor printouts in the archive provide a few tantalising snippets of material aimed at the fourth novel, So Long and Thanks. He says here, I guess the Greek gods will become... Oh no, sorry, he's mentioning the Greek gods, but I think they'll become the Norse gods, wandering the streets unnoticed in long dark eternal soul. And he says, maybe the Greek gods idea is something I could still do, he says, but as a children's book. Though that would be a difficult area to suggest that there exist people and creatures whom children can see and adults not, might prey on the fears of kids who are inclined to believe that anyway. But the idea of Douglas doing a children's book, that's kind of what Geoffrey McGivern was saying about we were deprived of Douglas the father writing. And I wouldn't mind betting that that's, in an alternative universe somewhere, that's probably something that would have been on the list. His earliest word processing still required a certain amount of note keeping by hand, and there's lots of notes about his computers in the notebooks. Thanks to a Facebook friend, Alison Scott, she identified this command, which is dotted around various places, KWing. Anybody know what that is? He just said KW this and KW that.
It's a word start block command.
Hey, well done, Liam.
Yes.
Yes, apparently it's a word start command, and Alison Scott said, worst word processor ever.
George R. R. Martin says so.
It was obviously one of Douglas's earliest. Douglas notes he's been fiddling with comms between his TRS-80-100 and his rainbow colour computer. The TRS-80-100 is apparently known as the original laptop, boasting the last OS largely coded by Bill Gates himself. That's how long ago it was. It says here, it keeps crashing, but he's got no idea why. This frustration eventually leads to his famous quote. I think we all know this one, but here it is in his own handwriting. Technology is our name for stuff that doesn't work yet. So his next observation is a cracker. It's a new one to me, and it comes from much later on, when he's got used to the idea of, you know, plugging in bits of equipment and trying out computers. Dickens never had to crawl around under his desk matching cables. As I said, he enjoyed the jet set lifestyle and he even went on Concorde. Dickens never got to fly Concorde though. Douglas made some notes during the flight in his notebook. These are observations on the ageing supersonic airliner's rather dated interior, and these little quotes in there. And he's obviously thinking about maybe he'd write a story eventually, and it's at a time when he was making lots of notes to himself about try to write something every day. Doesn't matter what it is, just write something. So obviously he's prepping here. Brown peeling fablon. Remember fablon? On the front passenger bulkhead. You can see it there, the dotting pattern. I found some pictures on the net. Little windows with bubbles in the glass. And observations also about his fellow passengers. Old American businessman in brand new clothes, face full of finely burnt blood vessels, finely scraped and patted with something pungent, nodding off with the exhaustion of having spent a lifetime getting to look like that.
Finally burst blood vessels.
Yes.
I had the feeling, it says here, I had the feeling that he was about to lean over, pat me on the hand with his fine, dry, loose-skinned fingers, maybe gape and say, young man, are you describing me? The stewardesses must have been having a bad day. Concorde galley, it says. Continual chaos of things being tipped over and smashed. It's not the glamorous little lifestyle you expect. Another passenger, an elderly American woman, elaborately and palely dressed, looking rather sombre about something on that little fold-down table. reading a large new straw-coloured hardback bestseller, holding it rather elegantly with pincer fingers and peering at it over half-moon glasses as if it was something rather precious that might get broken, and then he corrects himself, or as if it was a pair of her husband's underpants. I don't think she bothered with her husband's underpants. Douglas noticed something that even the Queen herself might have seen. You could just make out the herringbone sort of effect on the fablon around the windows. And Douglas writes, the pale brown and yellow ochre repeating design on the matte plastic walls seemed to be a kind of extravagant fantasia based on something gynecological and the remains of a kipper. And finally, in conclusion, as we're probably overrunning terribly by now, he's probably glaring at me.
Overrunning next door too.
Yeah, here we go.
Many moving tales are told of people who have consulted that entirely astonishing work of reference, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and had their lives changed forever by it. How many of those changes have been for the better is of course a matter of constant and acrimonious debate.
Thank you, Mike. Well, not by me, it's not. And not by everyone here, I'll wager. May the 25th was Towel Day, as you know, which celebrates Douglas's life and work. And so far he's been spending the last 16 years dead for tax reasons. Or maybe he's just popped out for a walk to try and clear those last problems in his mind. And we're all sorry to have missed you too, Douglas. So long, and thanks. That's it.